Some of the research I've been doing in the last couple of days has been very eye-opening for me. For instance, I'll use Tekken 8 as an example. There are many people within the community of Tekken 8, for instance, they don't like the direction of where that game is. But many people who only play Tekken 8, they have blinders on. They're oblivious to what is going on in like RPGs. They're oblivious what's going on in ARPGs, what's going on in shooters, what's going on here, what's going on there. All of this shit is connected. All of it. It's important to understand that if you are in the fighting game community and fighting games is your thing, you pretty much represent a very small slice of the gaming industry. Fighting games in general are, I believe it's like the lowest, or should I say one of the smallest gaming anything in the industry. Right now, I believe the top, if not top two, is shooters. This is why in the thumbnail, I added casual versus hardcore, because there is a marketed shift on development intent of which side developers are siding with, and that side is casual. Casual, without me even going to my articles, I can just tell you right now that the casual market of most things in business in general is the more profitable side. If I spent $200 million to create something, and I have to decide which audience I'm going to target, and I'm just using arbitrary numbers here because this is what actually happens. The hardcore market, let's just say 80 million. Okay, I would love to have that in my bank account. But then you look at the casual side, 300 million. Which side do you think I'm going to prioritize when it comes to making my game? It's a rhetorical question, but there are many people who just don't have I don't want to say common sense, the understanding. You are naturally going to prioritize the casual side because that's where the bulk of your money is going to come from. This is the main reason why you're seeing so many games being developed in the way that it's going, or being developed, sorry. There's so many things, so many layers that make up the gaming industry as a whole. Like, different games across different genres succeed and or fail due to different things. So many people may say, well, Streetfighter 6 is casual, Tekken 8 is casual, whatever, insert game, said game is casual. Well, that's done on purpose because they're trying to increase or just have a far better ROI, a return on investment. That's all. It's very much that simple. This is why at the end of the day, whenever I say what I say about Tekken 8, the game is doing well. It's not doing awful. It's still floating around. It's still, dog paddling. It's still getting its money. The hardcore market, the hardcore audience, for the most part, doesn't like it. The game was never designed for the hardcore audience for Tekken 8. The game of Street Fighter 6 was not designed for the hardcore. Most of these games across other genres are not designed for the hardcore. And that's what a lot of my peers on YouTube and Twitch and everywhere else that there are, many of them, they cannot get out of the buffs, the nerfs, the normals. Like, they can't get out of that. These developers, when they are making a game, especially in today's times, these games cost millions upon millions of dollars to create. And then even after the game is done, do you think those servers that they're broadcasting their games to play your little Tekken matches online, the Street Fighter matches on, do you think those shits is free? There is an associated cost with that. Somebody is picking up the tab. So even if they are not the ones picking up the tab, the fact that they are utilizing them, they have to show that, okay, we are worth using said servers if they are not directly paying for them themselves. There are so many costs attached to this. So I had this thought in my mind where I said to myself, when it comes to fighting games, I believe that the sheer development style, the cost of creating games like Tekken 8, Streetfighter 6, and whatever Mortal Kombat 1, all of these fighting games, this has completely outgrown the hardcore market to which I belong to, where they can no longer, or they may feel that they can no longer get a return on investment by dedicating this game to that particular hardcore audience. They don't believe it. And this is why you have been seeing a lot of the accessible, that's a corporal word basically to basically mean dumbed down, scrub friendly. They make it nice. So it's accessibility. So, or modern art. Well, actually, modern audience is a couple of things, but more specifically, accessibility. We want our game to be more accessible. We want our game to be more accessible. Translation. We want everybody to be able to pick up this game, press buttons. We don't necessarily need you to learn shit. Just feel confident that you can press shit and feel strong. That's what it comes down to. Period. That is how they feel, irregardless of my feelings or yours. This is what the developers and the publisher feels, that this is the path that they have to go by. And quite frankly, they're not off the mark. The casual gaming audience has pretty much skyrocketed the general profit of the gaming industry as a whole. Looking at certain reports I've seen where financial analysts and financial people that are projecting where the gaming industry is going from now, or at least I believe from 2020, I've seen reports from 2022 all the way up to 2033. The overall gaming industry is making money hand over fist. So you have to kind of ask yourself, where is this growth coming from? If you're thinking microtransactions, yeah. If you're thinking accessibility, oh yeah. It's a combination of these things. It has very little to do with the hardcore side of things. This is why overall, the hardcore market within gaming, people basically are saying it's around 26 to 27.5% of the overall gaming industry. It's not bad. It's definitely a very small slice. So when you take that small slice and you look at it from a fighting game standpoint, you're looking at an even smaller slice. So now that we understand that much of the development costs for Tekken 8 was very extreme. So you don't think that Namco Bandai was like, look, whatever you guys got to do to get us that money back, do it. And these are people that supersede Harada during his time within the development studio, supersedes everything. That's just the nature of the publisher versus developer. Namco Bandai is going to tell you, okay, we're going to give you this amount of money because of the success of your prior game, but this is not charity. We need to see this come back and profit. There was no way that Tekken 8 was going to get that type of money back by just prioritizing the hardcore sweats, as the young people call them. Wasn't going to happen. Same thing for Street Fighter. Same thing for most games, actually. So this is from Game Pressure, and this is from 2023. And the reason why I like these older articles, and excuse the advertisements, because you know these websites, they're trying to get paid as well, is because it goes to illustrate that while this article is back from 2023, it illustrates that while we are in 2026, it proves that what they were saying back then is pretty much manifesting today. So here we go. So PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers, the report on the state of the gaming market in the United States brings a number of interesting conclusions. In addition to the slowest growth rate in years, attention is also drawn to the growing disparity between the traditional game market and the mobile and casual segments. So according to the report, in the year 2022 brought the U.S. game industry a total of more than $54 billion in revenue. This result represents an increase of just 2.4% over the previous year. Now, analyzing the document, a journalist from VentureBeat suggests that this may be influenced by the market situation, which is slowly recovering from the pandemic period. According to forecasts by PwC, the rate is expected to rise again in the coming years. Because this, like I said, this is done in 2023. So we are the coming years, basically. And remain at a level oscillating around 6% per year. Much more interesting, however, seems to be the widening disparity between the two prominent branches of the industry over the years. Traditional gaming, focused primarily on consoles and PCs, earned a mere 27.6% of the revenue of the entire domestic gaming industry. The vast majority, as much as 68.6%, was earned on casual games and the mobile sector. So I want people to really understand that. Back then, during that particular article, it should become clear that even those years before, the casual market, regardless of your personal feeling toward that market, it is the larger market. It is the larger piece. That's basically what it is. That's pretty much what it is. Now, let me go back. So now again, traditional gaming, 27.6%. The vast majority, as much as 68.6%, was earned on casual games. This relationship, moreover, seems to follow a kind of trend in the industry based on the growing disparity between the various sectors. According to PwC's forecast, this stratification is also expected to continue in the coming years. By 2027, revenues from the casual market could more than triple the profits of hardcore games. 22.8% to 73.8%. The main reason for this is expected to be comparatively faster pace at which the branch of casual games is growing and generating revenue. That's it. I could literally end the stream right off of this. This right here literally should make this become crystal clear to everybody that wants to bitch and complain about, why Tekken 8 is this, or Streetfighter 6, the drive gauge mechanic, this is a neutral skip, or why is Final Fantasy, it's gone more action based. At the end of the day, it comes down to making money. And where is the majority of the money coming from? Now, I'm not done. I'm not done. Not by a lot. I have at least a good 8 to 10 articles curated. And I made sure to select these specific articles in a separate folder so I can just go to them, bam, 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 right on down the list. I got articles stemming from this, articles talking about AI, articles talking about pretty much everything. But I feel like this was the best thing to kind of just kick things off. So let me go back. Let's go on down. A somewhat forgotten but also worth mentioning aspect of the industry remains esports. In 2022, this branch managed to generate $455 million in profit. Year after year, this sum has been growing steadily, but still remains some marginal, accounting for only 0.8% of the gaming industry's revenue. Oh boy. Although reports of this type can provide us with an interesting topic for discussion and consideration of the condition of the medium, it is worth approaching them with a certain amount of distance. For we should remember that PwC's report focused only on the US game industry. The distribution of forces in other parts of the globe and the conditions there, the mobile market in China, esports, South Korea, could lead to a completely different conclusion. Now, that right there, let me just try to read in between the lines for you guys. Competitive fighting games, both hardcore and esports, their largest sector is the Asian territories. Now, it would stand to reason that 0.8 number would likely increase. But would it really increase to anything meaningful? Meaningful in terms of rivaling what the casual market does? Absolutely not. The article explains that they put that in there to kind of just for those that may say, well, that's just only the gaming aspect. I mean, only the American side. It's kind of like they're just covering their own ass. But even if you were to add up all of esports across the world, it would still add up to a very negligible number when in relation to the vast majority of other games like shooters, sports, and other games of that nature. So, but it just goes to show that fighting games is a very small market. It's a small percentage of the overall aspect of things. Yeah. So let's dive back in. Let's see. I think this is it for this article. Okay, so I'm gonna leave all these articles. I will add for you guys to do your own research for like the 5 of you that actually will. Because I'm curious. Is there how many people even in my stream? What is it, like 5? Let me just see. Just for shits and giggles. I'm just curious. Let's see who's in here. Okay, 20 people. Okay, I'm shocked. I am shocked there's even 20 people in this stream. So shout outs to you guys. So the next thing I want to cover, let me get back to it. All right, which article should I go to here? So let's X this one out. I think there was a very interesting one here where I got it from Forbes. Now, Forbes, beware, there's going to be a lot of advertisements on this article. So you've been warned. So I'm going to click off these shits as much as possible. So this is an article from July 16th, 2024. The social casual experiences to command gaming revenue by 2028. Now, this is probably piggybacking off of the article I just read. But let's just see what they have to say here. The game, fucking advertisements. The gaming industry has been deeply affected by cuts and job losses over the last few years, but that won't stop it from experiencing strong growth in the coming 5 years. According to a new report from PwC, it'll top $300 billion in annual revenue by 2028, more than double its takings in 2019. Released this week, Global Telecom Entertainment and Media Outlook 2024 to 2028 names gaming among the fastest growing large sectors in the entertainment media industry. It states that while the pace of this growth will decline as the segment matures, gaming will account for 9% of the entire market by 2028. The report, which considered 53 territories across North America, Europe, and the Middle East, Africa, Latin America, and Asia Pacific, around 80% of the world's population claimed the superchargers for increased wealth over the next 4 years are social and casual gaming platforms. These accounted for 68.7% of overall revenue in 2023. They're predicted to have a 76.4% share by 2028. Going on down, PwC says this will reduce traditional gaming's grip. Traditional gaming, I want you to understand, read in between the lines, that is the hardcore market. Will reduce traditional gaming's grip on the industry from 28.6% to 21.4% over the next 4 years. Even esports and integrated video game advertising, often touted as major money spinners in the coming years, will remain a very small component of income, not even accounting for 3% of revenue between them by 2028, something the inaugural Esports World Cup, currently underway in Saudi Arabia, undoubtedly aims to transform. So let me just take a break from that. Now, I just want to really highlight that, again, whenever you hear the term traditional, that is essentially another way of just saying the hardcore market. This goes beyond fighting games. If you look at fighting games back in the day, if you just look at all video games back when I know I'm probably older than everybody here in the chat. I'm 45 years old. So based on the era of gaming that I come from, way back in 1985 when I first started, games were very different. Games were difficult. They had very good story. So I say all of this to illustrate the point that much of gaming across all genres, hell, even look at Call of Duty. How many times I hear people say that Call of Duty was a Modern Warfare was like that was like the GOAT, right? Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo Reach. And it's like every genre. This is not an accident. Literally every genre in gaming. If you go back to the older games, these are the titles that are generally more remembered in a more fond way. They weren't really doing things that was completely out of their depth. These were games that had compelling narratives. These were games that at the time they were graphically fine, but nothing quite like what we have in today's times. Now, when you look at modern era shit, a lot of it is driven by identity politics. A lot of it is being just virtue, a lot of virtue signaling when it comes to narrative-based games. If you look at fighting games, you're basically dealing with dumbed down mechanics, brain rot mechanics like heat and rage from Tekken 8. People that would complain about the drive gauge system in Streetfighter 6, people that, like, you name a current fighting game, there is an entire mob of people that are complaining about something, not so much the characters, because character balance has always been an issue with fighting games. It's like, you're not gonna solve that. but they're talking more about the mechanics of the game themselves. It's like this never ending thing to kind of get you to understand and open your eyes as to why things are the way they are and how they got here. Now, whenever people on my channel have heard me bitch and complain about Tekken 8 over like several months to where I finally quit and abandoned that franchise, I actually gave the solution to the Tekken 8 problem. I gave the solution. See, that's where when people would say, well, you know, you're just a doomer, you complain. The difference is that I actually gave a solution. It's a solution that the people that continue to play Tekken 8, they refuse to do. And it's actually a solution that gamers in general can adopt for any game. People that bitched and complain about Call of Duty, people that bitch and complain about Battlefield, they bitch and complain about this, they bitch and complain about that. You as consumers, you as content creators and streamers, you guys have a card that you guys can play. It's just that many of you refuse to play that card. And the majority of who I direct this toward are my peers, the content creators, the streamers. Because when you look at the way games are made now, they're no longer designed for you, the traditional audience. Like I said earlier, whenever you hear that term, read in between the lines. Traditional means hardcore. They don't care. Your group, and I say your group, your market, it accounts for a very small percentage of actual revenue. Back in the day, this was different because the cost of developing a game was significantly lower. The cost of marketing the game, the cost of upkeeping the game was much different, lower. So that way, games could appeal to that hardcore audience. Games could maintain their identity because the identity is not translating into money. By people continuing to play these particular games, what you are doing, and this is why I made that video where I was calling out people hypocrites and shit like that. What you are doing is saying, I don't like your product. You know, actually, no, scratch that. I don't like this restaurant. I don't like your food. But next week, you're back there sitting in that same restaurant, ordering more food. So this is why I call many of these people hypocrites, because the game industry has moved pretty much like they cater, right? 21% is still 21. Or at least that's where it's going to go toward. Right now, I believe it, like they said in the article, what was it again? Let me read this again. 28%, right? About 28%. Okay, about 28%. That's still a pretty sizable market. Like I say, that is the overall industry. If we isolate that for like fighting games, that 28% is even smaller, because that 28.6% is the overarching gaming space across multiple genres, shooters, RTS, everything. That pie becomes even smaller. So when you have a developer like Capcom, Namco, NetherRealm Studios, when you have all these big companies that are making fighting games, they do not feel that they're going to make back a significant amount of money by catering to that. Well, it wouldn't be 28.6% because, like I said, that slice will be even smaller. So I can speculate it's probably somewhere in maybe 10%. Maybe single digits, because that slice also, you have to factor in, it also encompasses RPGs, JRPGs, shooters. So that slice, you know, there's not much space for fighting games. So yeah, it makes 100% business sense to make games that are catering to that much larger market. Unfortunately, people that are within that small hardcore segment, they are going to raise hell and bitch and complain. It's basically akin to a kid throwing a tantrum, and the parent may or may not look and even acknowledge you. It is what it is. It's my hope that I can convey this as best as possible. It feels like there's so many moving parts to this. Even I don't know everything. I'm just trying to share what I know and just trying to highlight certain things, because I think there are many people who just spinning their wheels in the wrong direction. Many times I will see a lot of my peers, it's like they're focusing on the wrong things. They're focusing on nerfs. They're focusing on this. They're focusing on this, the identity. And I'm like, you're not understanding the source of why these changes have been made. You're not. So I wanted to go on to the next article here. Or maybe I could just finish this one up, actually. Yeah, there's more to this article. All right, so the Asia Pacific, the biggest generator of total video game and esports revenue, will power change. In 2023, the region generated $109.6 billion in revenue, which is 48.1%. By 2028, PwC believes it will account for 181.8 billion. So do you see that? So in 2023, it went from 109.6 billion to only 5 years. Well, right now, 2 years from this point will increase by 181.8. Markets continue to emerge while Japan and China remain gamer havens. The community highlights Indonesia and Pakistan as key nations for growth. Industry revenue is conventionally characterized by game purchases and subscriptions, but PwC says in-game advertising will become more prominent. In-game, oh, well, what do you know? In-game advertisements. Isn't that what a lot of companies are doing nowadays, where they're putting ads in certain subscription services? It's already happening. This is why when I talk about the involvement of AI, subscription services, digital ownership, and I put in quotations, there are things that are happening within the gaming space that go far beyond fighting games. Fighting games is just merely just a small component on this whole thing. Industry revenue is conventionally characterized by in-game purchases and subscriptions, but PwC says in-game advertising will become more prominent. In-app social and casual gaming revenue is predicted to jump from 82.9 billion to 147.9 billion by 2028. That's 2 years from now. While in-app games advertising revenue will rise more slowly from 72.4 billion to 106.6. That's still a good percentage jump, but slower by comparison to the other numbers. PwC cites the rumored 2025 release of Nintendo Switch's successor as a key driver alongside, quote, investments in new products, new technologies, and new business models. Younger demographics will continue to drive targets, with the company noting how Disney and Epic Games are now working together to combine Fortnite with the Star Wars, Marvel, and Pixar franchises. So if you made it this far in the video, hopefully you'll consider subscribing to the channel as well as follow me over on my Twitch. So I just wanted to also say everything that you just heard in this throughout this video was taken from a live stream I had done a few days ago. And in that particular live stream, there were a lot more articles that I actually wanted to get to, because there's a lot more to this than what you just heard. But, you know, it was a live stream. I got sidetracked, started talking to chat. I went off in different directions. So I spent a good hour and change editing everything you just seen while I was wearing red, because this is just a completely different day that I'm recording this part right now. I'm just adding it all together. But at that time, you know, there was a lot that I wanted to get off my chest. There was a lot that I wanted to educate people on as it pertains to the actual gaming industry, and specifically the fighting game genre as a whole. So I edited a lot. and it was a lot of work. So hopefully there were some things in there that made sense to you, but best believe this is not it. This is not everything. And I am contemplating doing another live where I just go a little bit a few steps further, or I just might make a standalone video. I'm not too sure, but I have seen many people that go to comment on several of my videos, and I appreciate the comments. Believe me, I truly do. It all counts as engagement. It helps with the algorithm. But I do see that there are some of you that are very passionate. I do feel that some of you do overestimate what you guys think you know. Many times I'll see people that are misconstruing what I'm saying. They don't, like if I'm saying ABC, they're thinking I'm saying 1, 2, 3, and they're going off on that. And it does become a bit annoying because I can see based on the reactions, or should I say the comments, that they don't quite understand. So ultimately, the overall gaming industry, it has gained significant profit, not because of the traditional side of things, which I have said repeatedly, which is the hardcore market, the audience, what have you. It is because of the casual, be it the console, be it the mobile industry, which is also something to note. The mobile industry, the mobile side of things in gaming has pretty much made over half of the total revenue of gaming. That's another thing to factor in. So, you know, and that's the reason why I even mentioned that that was the main reason why Microsoft decided to go and acquire Activision Blizzard. You know, so I try to touch on that, you know, on the Microsoft side of things. So there's a lot of moving parts that goes on within the gaming space that many of you are just not aware of fully. Some of you are on the right path, and I do appreciate that. But on my channel, when I'm speaking about these matters, this is what I do. You know, when I am not streaming, when I am not making these long form videos, I am like the eye of Sauron. Okay, I am looking and scouring the industry, looking at current trends, looking where things are going, whether it's the fighting game aspect, what have you. This is what I do. So I rarely just pull rabbits out of a hat. I do my due diligence. I do my own particular research to bring you about as much accuracy as I can in these videos. And, you know, it's not easy. You know, it is very time consuming. So imagine my frustration when I hear somebody in the comment section saying something like they get it, but not fully. So I try to be patient. I try to, you know, steer them the right way. But when I hear when I read the responses, I eventually just kind of let it go. I'm like, look, I'm not going to try to argue in the comment section on what is fact versus what their opinions are. But in any event, you know, if you guys appreciate this, leave me a like for the algorithm, subscribe if you're new, follow me over on my Twitch, and I guess with that being said, there'll be more to come. Anyway, take care. Peace. Salute.